Hi folks, Motormind here. I'm doing another review on one of these Scotty videos, repair videos. Now, quite honest, this one here happened to pop up on me. I wasn't actually looking for this one. I was looking at a different video. This one came up, and I just thought I need to share this with you folks, and see what you think. He's looking at this Mercedes GLK 350 SUV. So he's kind of gone into the video. He's kind of reviewed it a little bit, and quite honestly, just looking at him, it seems like he's a bit of contempt. If you've seen his Scotty videos, he's not a big fan of German vehicles, anyways. So I think he's biased towards Toyota. We all know that. So let's just move on.
If it's value. Now I'm going to scan it because the customer wants me to check it out with my fancy scan tool. We'll see what's going on inside it electronically. So we plugged it in, and now comes the fun. We'll turn the key on, so the idiot light's on, the car's not running. Push the old Mercedes-Benz button, and away we go. It's going to take a while just to initialize the system. That pretty much shows you the complexity of these Mercedes. They are uber complex. Okay.
They're like high-end luxury vehicles, so you got a lot of systems, a lot of electronics on them. Even this one being used in a bit older model. So yeah, they do take a while.
Now it's initialized. Now it's going to scan. That's going to take a while too. It's running through. Their idea of quick and mine, two completely different universes.
It's not a 94 Toyota, is it?
Geological time here. It's only got two codes for the tire pressure monitoring system, which is no big deal. Fault for the right front door, which is no big deal. Now we'll look at some of the live.
So one thing I would like to see on that though, and you didn't see on this because no codes, and quite honestly, if it's Scotty's going to repair video, then this might have a fault, is you don't see the emissions data. Like it'll usually say all emissions tests have passed. And what that means is that the vehicle's done enough drive cycles that it can run its tests. And when it says if it says not passed, then there's a possibility, and very likely that the code's been cleared recently, and so those tests haven't completed. And that's not there. So with seeing no codes, is that maybe this hasn't done enough drive cycles for the vehicle to flag any codes yet. It needs to see certain parameters and stuff for them to do the tests, for the computer to do tests, and then they say, okay, oh, these tests have failed. I gotta flag a code. So that's the only thing.
See what kind of information comes.
I know you've seen some on there. You got ones called hard faults, and what they are, sometimes it's like an electrical open, like it doesn't the computer can instantly see there's something's come back instantly, bam, hard fault. They'll come back right away. You can clear code, it'll go bang, come right back up the code again. So I think there's a few that he sees on there. It's a hard fault.
Load range.
So instantly here I can kind of see a couple of things. Just want to point out. If I want to see the intake, this is in short intake track. It wants to see long intake track because he's doing high load range. So it's wanting to see, and it's this Mercedes, they have these tumblers, these how to put it, like these flaps inside the intake, and they moves back and forth, and it has to do with controlling the air. It's like a swirl flap, helps it swirl, and when you need some extra power, like on low RPM, when you're trying to get extra grunt, it'll flip over, tumbles the air, gives you more power, and gets you bit better fuel economy. It also has two different tracks in the intake. Has like a long route and a short route, and it has these doors that flip over back and forth, and it has to do with emissions, and also it has to do with power. So your short route, your short intake channels, when you're at low RPM, you get the air in faster, and then longer ones on the highway, stuff like that, and it kind of gives you that nice highway, those nice the long legs, and helps you to pick up speed and get that. So you're seeing that there. I'm going to say there's definitely something on there. And these kind of are known for a fault. I'll show you in a little bit. Also notice the injection timing is quite short. It's wanting to see between 9 and 14, and we're at 4 milliseconds. And he's revving it up at this point here. Also intake here, yeah, there's a fault there. And also your on your inlets, both sides. But they're both about the same. They're not too far off. And then also your outlet, which would be your exhaust cams. So
Now right away I can see this data's bad. Red means bad. You
So
can see
it's nice, and look, Scotty's got like a scan tool that kind of tells him, oh look, red's bad, right? That must be bad. But what he's not hasn't done, and I say kind of in this, is that he's seeing that, but it doesn't explain it. Look into why. Why is that data bad? What is causing that data to be bad? I said you got several different things going on in this.
but when I rev it up,
See, that was idle. Now this is a revving. It's revving up. The outlet, okay, is shifting, and so is the intake cams are shifting as well. It's got VVT on this engine, right?
you can feel the engine isn't running right. It got a little under the black here.
They're both about the same though, and so are these.
Now as you can hear when I rev it up under the engine, listen. You can hear a little, but I feel shorter. This engine has problems. It's a used vehicle, and I even think that they cheated on the mileage.
Before I get to that, yes, he's right. It does sound like the engine's got problems. Obviously, a lot of the live data isn't happy there. Looking at that, and just a little bit more knowledge, and just a little bit of research, I kind of feel that it most likely needs the camshaft adjustment valve or solenoid, because it's a solenoid that runs the oil pressure to the phasers on the VVT. And if those get clogged up, sometimes if you go a little bit over your service and your oil gets a bit thick or just gets a bit of crud and stuff in the oil, a bit of carbon and stuff builds up from the blow-by, I can block up. There's a screen in those, and sometimes you block up, and then it's not allowing enough oil. Sometimes what happens actually is the opposite, where so then they don't get enough oil through, or the valve and gets stuck. Gets stuck and credit up, or they get stuck wide open, and then they're running, and then it shifts the cams. So then that's where you start getting data like that, and especially when you see it on the intake and the exhaust cams, when they're both out of spec. The other thing that could possibly be is the chain adjuster. It's done. It's hydraulic. It's got a hydraulic adjuster on it, and as you rev it up, you're increasing the oil pressure. And sometimes if that's weak, then you'll suddenly see the cams come in, because what happens is pushing the chain out harder, and it's able to kind of take up the slack, or it's pushing it back where it should be. At idle, the oil pressure is going to drop down, because the engine's obviously going slower, and the oil pump's running slower. Then if that's weak, or if it's partially blocked up, then that adjuster is going to not have the tension it needs on it. It's going to come back, and it's going to let the chain have a bit of slack and not as much tension, and then that allows the cams to kind of move around. They're not having tension on it they want to have, right? And so that's when you see them kind of jumping around and stuff like that. So I would kind of think that's most likely what I'd be looking into. Yeah, I think that's, and then you also have obviously the intake issue, and I'll just kind of show you here just real quick. When I'm talking intake, I'll give you a picture. That's what I'm talking. This is a Mercedes intake for this van. Now these are known for this little arm here. All right, it gets carbon inside these intakes, and it causes a bit of resistance. With this moves the swirl flaps. This moves back and forth and opens out of there. You get straight in, or clogs up a bit, and it's the air inside. Kind of gets turbulence and stuff like that. These are known to break right there, and they're actually. It used to be you had to replace this whole intake to replace that arm, but you can actually go to companies, and they actually make an aluminum grade, because this is plastic. You take it off, pop that off there, pop that guy off there. There's one here, pop that off there. Little screw off, new one on, and it goes on. And then that, because there's a known weak point on these, because it's plastic, right? It's garbage. It's known. And with the aluminum one, that's it. You don't have to worry about them. They're pretty good. Now, also, these are vacuum. This is vacuum controlled. These are also vacuum controlled. These are for your runners. These are the go from your short track to long track. These are also vacuum controlled. See, there's a vacuum line there. There's a vacuum line there. So with that having an issue, and especially with that data pit there, I would be very, very tempted to look. Is there a hole? Is this on? Is there a hole here? Are these faulty? Is there another one there? There's a hole there. I'd be looking at the vacuum lines first, and just kind of make sure you don't have a leak there. And that also could be causing when you have the injectors and stuff like that. It could be running a bit rich, or pardon me, running a bit lean, and so you're causing a lot of different issues there. And so I would kind of be just want to look into that and to see that. And these, all you do is pop the bonnet here. I took the plastic cover off the engine, off the beauty cover, and you look down and you can see if this thing's broken or not. You look straight down the top of the engine, bam. It's pretty easy, pretty quick. And also, you said he's got a scan tool. You can also see if these guys here, if they're working, and also sometimes if they have extra play, they can replace the intake. And it's not cheap. Quite honestly, they are not cheap. They're quite expensive. It's it's not enough to condemn the vehicle unless you just can't be bothered to pay for it. But he does say in this video that the person only paid 1/3 of what the vehicle originally cost. So, you get what you get. I mean, they're very nice vehicles. They drive nice. I've driven those GLKs. They are they're definitely a very nice vehicle to drive. So yeah, it's up to you. Is it worth for you to pay for it or not? But that there. Other than the labor taking the intake out, so the intake has to come out. That's not very expensive to replace. And I said there's companies you can order online on the internet and get that, and if you have a mechanic and they can replace that, and then that'll never break again. So back to the video.
It says it has 83,673 miles on it. But when I check on the computer, it says 100.
Oh, see, now I do have a problem with this. For one, why is Scotty covering up the units? Why is that? You just get pointed down here, so that's dodgy. Why is he doing it? Because he's seeing this now. Most modern vehicles, Mercedes definitely being one of them. The mileage that you see on the dash. Go back a little bit here. That is read off the engine's PCM. That is all it is that is read and sent to the module in the cluster, and it's read off that. The cluster actually doesn't so much store it. It's the engine PCM that stored it, and to be able to change that, there had to be it'd be Mercedes. You'd have to normally even the Mercedes dealer won't be able to change it. They'd have to have special permission and be able to change those data blocks in the PCM and be able to modify them. And normally only like engineers, you'd have to have engineered remote access and stuff like that. So or you'd have to, if you put a different PCM in, and then you read and coded it too. But then a lot of the other modules will have a memory of that in there. So if it's reading there, it's gonna be in the PCM. Now, when he's reading on his scan tool, he's reading off the PCM, isn't he? It's plugged into
3 miles on it. But when I check on the computer, it says 130.
Now here's why I have an issue. Okay, he's obviously put that on there. I can tell you right now, Scotty's lying to you. Right there, he's trying to dupe you. And here you are. I've done a conversion. I've put 134,661, and that's the miles. Now it's off by 1 mile. Now it could be his scan tool. It could be the cluster could be rounding one way, going rounding down, and the cluster could be rounding up. And the cluster, the scan tool, is an aftermarket scan tool. It's not a factory Mercedes scan tool. So it could be reading the scan tool doing one thing conversion, because obviously it's going to convert it to the scan tool. The PCM sending it to dash does it. It's rounding up, one's rounding it down. But it's 1 mile. That's way too much of a coincidence. I'm sorry, but that's just way too much. Any conversion here. If that was 134,661 kilometers is 83,674 or 73 miles. Right? So that's all it is. His scan tool is reading kilometers. The cluster in the States is obviously converting it to miles. Sorry, Scotty's lying to you right there. And that is, and that I'm showing you right there. Everybody thinks that Scotty is like the be all end all. He's 100% truthful. Folks, he's lying to you. Why is he trying to dupe you on this? Why? It's because he's trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. And he's just trying to make something up because he's not a big fan of German vehicles. And I think he's just found something, he's seen this, and he's gone, ooh. And he knows perfectly what he's doing. He knows he's covering it up. Why? And I've seen it. He put in his comments, listening in the comments, he goes, oh, I was just pointing at it. No. You're lying, mate. You're definitely lying. If you're going to point at it, why don't you have it down there so you can see when it says 134,661 MI. Why are you covering that? Because it says KM.
661 miles on it. So they were
No.
cheated. This isn't the real mileage on the car.
Well, crap, because it would be the PCM would be reading the mileage, so no.
No, it didn't show serious trouble codes yet on the OBD information.
That's because probably the monitors for the emissions monitors haven't finished doing the tests, so it don't always flag a code.
The OBD information
Or hasn't done enough drive cycles.
When some of that information goes too far to put the check engine light on, can't get your car inspected, but the data that this computer gets is much deeper, and as you can see, the data for the cams was way off. And I can feel it rumble when I accelerated it up and down. Shame we don't have rumble feature like in those old movies where they shook the...
So if you've seen this feeling rumble, I would say maybe looking, I'd say definitely still be looking into the tensioner for the timing chain. They do sometimes go. There is also known fault for the adjuster for the cams. For that's going, that is actually a known fault on these and known to go. And also, the rumble could also be in the intake. It could be that either there's those doors, the blend doors and stuff are starting to go, or it could be that if that little point thing, that little arm that I showed you there, if that's broken off, right? You got this guy's doing nothing. Then all it is that this attaches to there. This one here runs over and attaches right there. Runs over to this guy here. If that's moving, that's held by nothing. That's just going to move back and forth. So you can be feeling that just kind of like jostling around and rumbling, and because you got air going in there, and you could be doing that, or it causing turbulence inside there. Maybe it's stuck one way or the other. So it could be feeling that. That's where I would look at.
The seats when they had earthquakes, because you would have felt it. This engine is not long for the earth.
No. See, I'm not having that because I think that engine's fine. You can see that everything else is working. It's doing what it should be it's not doing what it should be doing, but you can see that the cams were all staying the same. It didn't sound like it's absolutely it's not knocking its ass off. It's not it's you don't hear a lot of like piston slap or anything like that. You see this rumble, and I'm gonna think. It needs work. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say this vehicle is perfect, and he's lying that saying the vehicle is, and I'm not saying he's lying or trying to dupe you, saying that the vehicle's actually good, and he's saying the vehicle is bad. The vehicle definitely needs some work. That's there's no getting around that. But the engine is still got life left in it. It just needs some work. It needs some money put into it. Hopefully, they didn't spend too much on it, and they're willing to put money towards it. But yeah, engine's not at the end of its life.
Mercedes-Benz V6 engine, but they are insanely complex.
See, how many times you said this? I will bring up one more thing. I've looked at a lot of stuff on these, and a lot of people have said these engines in this vehicle is one of the most reliable Mercedes. One of the most reliable Mercedes. No, and lots and lots of people have not had a problem with them. And these are really good engines, very, very reliable, very robust. So, yes, they are complicated, Scotty. And I honestly think it's because he just doesn't understand it. It's just a bit more too complicated for old Scotty. If it's 94 Celica, yeah, no worries. Perfectly fine. I do wonder about that because when's the last time anybody's seen that actually move or run? Throw a comment down. When's the last time you've seen Scotty actually start that Celica up or seen it move? That vehicle's going to last forever because it doesn't go anywhere.
Inside, having these things worked on costs a fortune. You have to replace an engine like this. The sky.
Engine does need replacing.
Thousands.
What I would recommend though is when you don't take it to a guy like Scotty, some Fred in the shed working in his garage. Take it to either a Mercedes specialist, or a German car specialist, or just a really good qualified mechanic who can actually look into this vehicle properly. And in fact, if I just look at this now. He didn't actually remove this cover. Move that cover off. Only pops off. They're not that hard. And you look straight down in and you see if that the arm is gone or not.
And thousands of dollars. So in this particular case, not a smart idea buying this used. It was 2/3 cheaper than a brand new one, but it doesn't have much life left in its engine.
It's got lots of life left in it. I like it, and he's just can't be bothered with it. So.
So why not to buy a used Mercedes?
There's nothing wrong with buying these Mercedes. As I said, they are known to be very, very reliable vehicles. Just, obviously somebody's bought it, and the way it sounds, they've bought it knowing it has a problem. They've took it to Scotty. They've probably got a steal of a deal on it. So I would think it's yes, definitely, fix it. It's probably, financially viable just to fix a vehicle.
You.the. And here's some.
Alright, so that's about it for my video. Thanks for watching. I'll be making more videos. I'll be doing some auto repair videos in the near future here. Once I've kind of get things set up and I'm able to do them. Click that subscribe button, comment below, and watch some more videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.